All right, here we go, and we're being recorded now. So, first, is that a wave or a question, Jessica? Just a wave? Okay. So first order of business. So homework policy. I've been having people just kind of send me your homework when you're done. I'd like to do it, but the problem with that is then like I'm always working. It'll be like 8 o'clock at night, and somebody will send in their homework. I gotta go to my computer, enter in your score, and all this stuff. So what I'd like to do is have everybody turn in your homework when class starts, when we have class, to the group chat. That way I can just scroll through them. So for example, like if homework was due today, but I made that mistake, so tomorrow the homework will be due. But if the homework was due today, at 8 o'clock, when I come in and say, okay, everybody send in your homework, our group chat should just be a huge stack of your homework, and then I can scroll through. You have to write your name on the paper version of your homework. If I don't see your name, I don't know it's you. And then I have to go back and say, who is this? And who is this? And who is this? So please write your name on your homework. Okay? That's the first one. Number 2 is that all the homework which is due today is actually due tomorrow. I made a mistake. It says it's due on the 10th. Next up is the quiz protocol. So when you take the quiz, we're going to try to use Plus Portals to submit your quiz today. I think you can do that. Yeah, the 8.1 to 8.3 quiz. I've never done. Has anybody ever done this? Submitted a quiz through Plus Portals yet? Have you guys done that yet? No. Jessica, I see you talking, but you're muted.
We've submitted stuff, but on a quiz.
I think we'll be able to do it. I think it'll probably be the same process of submitting a quiz. So you'll just jump on, submit it through the post in Plus Portals. Okay. Next up, when you send it in to me, I'll grade it and I'll get your grades out there as fast as possible. Zoom expectations. I think I probably should have gone over this a long time ago. I'm okay with you. I don't know. I have a hard time. And so this is for those people who are non-screening where I can't see your faces and your microphones are off. Generally, as a teacher, that means that I'm assuming you're not here. I don't know if you're here or not. It's a bit of a trust thing. So I know that Anders, you always like to have the picture of Danny DeVito. And some of you don't always love to have your picture up, and I want to respect that. But at the same time, I also want to make sure that you're here and and so I know. So anyway, so the policy is this. So you either have your microphone on and your video off, or your video on and your microphone off, but you can't have both. If you have both off, I have no idea if you're there at all. If you have one on, I can say, Anders, do you get that? And then Anders would say,
Here.
awesome, Anders is here. Okay, so you guys get that? You can have your microphone off, but you have to have your video on. You can have your video off, but you have to have your microphone on. One or the other. Got it? Awesome. Virtual backgrounds, I don't care. That's fine. As long as they're school appropriate. You can go wild. Have fun. All right. Next 2 weeks. I just finished planning for the next 2 weeks. We're going to keep cruising along, and we're going to finish chapter 8. So I will send out right now the schedule for the next 2 weeks. Stand by. All right, there it is, guys. So just sent it to you. That document will kind of be an overview of what to expect for the next 2 weeks. When we're, I haven't really decided, right now the structure, I looked at the responses I got from you guys on the survey you took last time, and thank you to those people who responded. It seems like you want me to spend more time on Zoom. That was kind of the feedback I got. Good morning, Georgia. Oh, she's coming in. Good morning, Georgia. Georgia, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Good morning. So the feedback I got was you wanted me to explain things more. So let me hear back from you right now. One option is I've been doing these pre-recorded videos, and then you guys will you'll do your homework and things like that. Is it okay if I just make the videos longer, or how many people would prefer Zoom, like every class where we can go over stuff? Let me hear from you guys. What works better for you guys? Pre-recorded videos sometimes, or Zoom every time? Which works better? Yeah, Lainey?
The pre-recorded videos.
Because
I don't like doing Zoom.
Okay, got it. Anybody else?
Pre-recorded videos.
Yeah, that works better for you, Georgia?
I like the pre-recorded videos better because you can just look back on them later if you don't understand something.
Right. That's pretty cool. You can't just rewind a lecture in Zoom, although I'm going to try to record them and put them up as much as possible as well.
I'd say longer recorded videos and sometimes Zoom.
Okay. Yeah, I'm fine with that too.
Over stuff like this.
Yeah. What if, yeah, go ahead, Mia.
I have a question. So during class, is it okay if we record you guys so that way we can just like go back?
Yeah, for
We
sure.
want to go back in the lesson? Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's good too. Yeah, I'm fine with that as well. How about this? Why don't we do, because I know some of you would prefer to have some one-on-one time. So how about we do this? Pre-recorded videos, and then I'll have every class, I'll just have an optional Zoom study kind of session. So if you want to pop in and just get one-on-one help, like I did the other day, you can do that too. So maybe like class will start at 8, the video will be available. You watch your video, and then at like 8:45 or something like that, I'll start a Zoom. And if you're like, you know what, none of this is making any sense to me, then you join me on the Zoom, and then I help you out. Does that sound good? Yeah? That work for everybody? You don't have to be at the Zoom. If on some of them, we're going to have to be there. On others, we won't. Okay, cool. That work for everybody? We're good? All right, cool. I'm going to get set up to project my camera down. In the meantime, everybody take out your homework from last night, which was 8.3. And again, it's not actually due till tomorrow, but I know a couple of people had questions before we dive into today's quiz. So let's get our homework out, and I'll be set up in just a moment. Eliyahu's here. Good morning, Eliyahu. Bless you. Morning, Eliyahi.
Hi.
Let's catch you up on everything so far. The announcements we made this morning were we're going to turn in our homework every class at the beginning of each class instead of sending them in at random times. That was the first thing. Technically, your homework's not due till tomorrow since I made that mistake. And the next thing was we're all going to take a quiz. And we're going to today. We're going to try to submit it through Plus Portals. I'll be emailing you the quiz, and then if on Zoom, you either have to have your video on or your audio on, but you can't have both off because then I don't know if you're there or not. And I've texted the group the next 2 weeks, so you have a document that explains the next 2 weeks. So I hope that all makes sense. All right. So let's start it. Here we go. Homework from last night. I know I had a couple of people who wanted to go over some questions, so now's the time. Anybody out there have a question?
Number 19.
Number 19, you got it.
Number
Okay,
25.
19 and 25, sure thing. Wait, did we have to do 25?
We didn't have to do 25.
You did not have to do 25.
18,
Sorry?
15.
15 and 19, you got it. Anybody else?
Number 7.
7, 15, and 19. All right. So we're going to go in that order. First one we're going to do is number 7. So number 7, your graph should look like, it looks like this. It goes through, right? Like that. And you have a point. Oh, that's terrible. Sorry, guys. If the picture starts looking terrible, make sure you shout out at me and say, hey, Mr. Canfield, we can't see anything. There we go. Better. There we go. Okay. So your picture in the book kind of looks like this. One point would be here. Another point would be it. Okay. So just like the slopes of a mountain, number 7 reflects what kind of slope. So if it's going downhill, it's a negative slope. If it's going uphill, it's a positive slope. And if it's flat, who knows? What kind of slope is this?
0.
Yes, there's no slope. It's 0. Exactly. Number 7, the slope is 0. I also want to just point something out for those people who want to think about this a little bit further. If you think about each point, this point is 1, 3, and this point is 1, 2, 3, 4, 3. That's the one. 4, 3. If your slope is flat like this, or if it's vertical, that means there's 0 either way. And I want to show you something. If you subtract 4, 3, and 1, 3, what you're going to notice is one of your axes is going to end up being 0. And when that happens, when you subtract 3 and 3, that means that your slope is 0. So one of the ways to find, you're going to do that more when you're in pre-algebra, but you can actually find slope, not just by looking at a line, but by comparing 2 lines as well, or comparing 2 points. But that's in the future. You don't have to do that for now. Let's go to the next one. Nora, you want to do 15? Is that right?
Yes.
All right, 15. Here we go. So 15 asks to draw a line that has the given slope, passes through the given point. Number 15, the slope is 5. And the given point, nope, sorry, the slope is 3. The slope is 3. And the given point is 3, -1. Okay, so I'm going to draw my quadrant. Okay, first thing I have to find is my first point. So 1, 2, 3, -1. And now I need to think about how I might graph this slope. Remember that slope equals, oh, you can't see me, sorry guys. Slope equals rise over run. Well, one of the problems now is with 3, I don't know, there's no run. So how do I turn a whole number into a fraction? How do I turn a whole number into a fraction, guys? Anybody?
3 over 1.
Yeah, 3 over 1. So my slope is going to be 3 over 1. So I'm going to rise 3 squares from my point, and then I'm going to run 1 square. So I'll start by rising 3 squares. 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to run 1 square. Boom. That's my next point. I'm going to add another point. Rise 3 squares. 1, 2, 3. Run 1 square. Boom, there it is. And when I connect these, I have my line. So the thing to keep in mind is if you have a whole number, you can always turn it into a fraction by putting it over 1. And the same thing applies for negatives as well. If you had -3, it would be -3 over 1. Both are true. Does that answer your question, Nora?
Yes.
All right. Number 19 is the last one for this morning. Number 19 asks, similar, it says our slope is 3 over 4, and it passes through the point -2, comma, -1. The slope equals 3 over 4, and it passes through the point -2, comma, -1. -2, first I'm gonna, the process is gonna be the same every single time, guys. And it says it in your book on page 411. First, you plot the point. Then you write the slope as a fraction. It's already written as a fraction. Then you move and you make another point, and then you connect your points and you have your line. It's pretty straightforward. So let's make our first point -2, -1, -2, -1. And then let's make our slope 3 over 4. Up 3, 1, 2, 3, over 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So here I have my 2 points. Again, I rose 3, 1, 2, 3, and then I ran 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the rise. This is the run. The big mistake I'm seeing people make is after they've graphed the first point, they're moving from the origin. You don't move from the origin, you move from the original point. You move from the original point, then you connect your 2 dots to make your line. Okay, everybody with me? Any other questions on these ones?
Wait, Mr. Canapeel?
Yep.
For number 19, it looks like you went up 4 spaces instead of 3. Do you go up 4 spaces? Over 4?
Goes up 1, 2,
Oh,
3. It's 3, yeah.
okay.
If my slope was 4 over 3, I would have gone up 4 spaces, but it was 3 over 4, yeah. All right, guys, so we good?
Yes.
So far, the only voice I'm hearing this morning is Nora, so I need everybody to, that's Bowden and
Yes.
that's Anders.
Yeah.
PC.
Yes.
Yeah, all right,
Yes.
thanks.
Not me.
Yes.
Okay, great. All right, cool. So next up, boy, we're missing a bunch of, who else is missing here this morning? We're missing Otis.
Mr. C.
Ma'am.
For number 8, do you have to like simplify the QRS?
For number 8.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when you report the slope of a line, you should simplify it, yeah. Like when you
Okay.
have a ratio, you should simplify a ratio too.
Okay.
Question. Okay, let's jump into review for today's quiz. So today, we are going to go over the following concepts in preparation for your quiz.
Mr. Canfield,
Yes, ma'am.
if it's like 2 over 2, do you simplify that? Like make it 1?
Yes, you do.
Okay.
Yeah. So the question that Ilyahi and Sophia are asking is, if I found the slope of a line and the slope is 2 up 2 and over 2, the question is, can I simplify my slope as 1? And the answer is yes. And I'd like to show you an example of why you can do that. So let me pull up my trusty graph paper here one more time. So I want to show you how both are true, but one is more true. And yesterday, or not yesterday, when was that? Tuesday, when we met in the bonus study session, we discovered this as well. And so I want everybody else to be a part of this. Okay, so today what I'm gonna, on this example, our slope, actually, you know what? I'm gonna give you a line and you have to figure out the slope. So here's the line. And you have to figure out the slope. What is the slope? Call it, if once you see it, you can call it out. If you see it, you can call it out.
2/2.
Yeah, exactly, right. My slope is 2/2. Now, Ilyahi and Sophia were asking, if I take 2/2 and simplify it, it makes what, everybody?
1.
Makes 1, exactly. I can simplify it and make it 1. But does that still apply? Well, if my slope is 1, another way to write 1 is 1/1. You can't see what I just wrote, sorry. Another way to write 1 is 1/1. And watch what happens if I rise 1 and run 1. Rise and run. Rise and run. Rise and run. It works. So my slope is 2/2. It's also 1/1. And guess what? It's also 3/3. Rise 3, 1, 2, 3. Run 3, 1, 2, 3. It works. So simplifying it is the same. I mean, all of these are correct. These are all the correct slopes. 1 is the most correct, if that makes sense. And the last thing I want to point out is if you have a slope that's 1, it's going to be a 45-degree angle, and it's going to run perfectly through your boxes diagonally. You guys see that? So if your slope is 1, it's going to be a perfect 45-degree angle. It's going to go through your boxes. That's one of the unique things about it. Bueno, let's go. Here we go. So today, to review, we're going to work on writing ratios and make sure you guys are all square and ready to go there. We're going to talk about how to write ratios as fractions in simplest form. And we're going to talk about finding unit rates. And then lastly, you're going to have to find the slope of a line, very similar to what we just did. Okay? So these are the 4 concepts that are going to be on the quiz today. Right off the bat, just looking at those 4 things, show me with your thumb, how do you think you're going to be able to handle these? How do you feel about writing ratios fractions in simplest form, finding unit rates, and then finding the slope of a line? How do you guys feel about it? Thumbs ups. If you have a virtual background, you have to put it in front of your face so I can see you. Anders is he's a slope of 1. Bowden's kind of trick back and forth. Okay, cool. And then, I don't know who that is who is this down here on the bottom right? Nobody. Oh, it's Jessica? I don't know, it's weird. All right, cool, let's get to it. So, how do you write a ratio? Well, we went over this a while ago. And
Over? Or did you take a quiz?
okay, here we go. Chapter 8. Okay, so one of the things that we have to understand is a ratio compares something to something. I keep pointing out in the videos and the lessons, when you see this word 2, it is indicating that you have a ratio. When you see the word 2, you know that you're writing ratios. There's 3 ways to write ratios. What are the 3 ways to write ratios? What's one of them?
You can use a colon.
Yeah, you can use a colon. So if my ratio is 3/4, I can also use a colon. 3/4. What's another way to write ratios?
Fraction.
You got it, Lainey. 3/4. These are the 3 ways we write ratios, you guys. One of the things that we're going to have to be able to do is use a set of data and be able to compare. So here's what we're gonna do. For your practice problem, let's just do one together. I'm gonna use, let's do, I gotta go to your book for an example here. Ends at 8:30. Yeah, I'm getting okay. So I don't know. Do I even need to spend time on this 8.1? If I were to give you, like, we did a whole bunch of work on this. I'm pretty sure you guys are good. I saw all your homework. You guys all seem pretty well on this. So looking back at it, here's some examples. Right. So one of the things we looked at was writing ratios of a set. So here's a data table. What's the ratio of Lewis's rock albums to hip hop albums? Call it out when you see it. Rock album, Lewis's rock albums to hip hop albums.
9 to 24.
9, no, it's not 9 to 24. To hip hop. 9 to 16. Yeah, good. What's the ratio of, yeah. What's the ratio of Anna's pop to hip hop? What's the ratio of Anna's pop to hip hop?
70 to 40.
70 to 40. Jordan, what's another way of writing the ratio 70 to 40?
You can simplify it.
Yeah, you could. Exactly. You could do 7/4, right? You could also write 70:40, or you could write 70/40. Okay, so that's writing ratios. You guys are good there. Next up, writing ratios in simplest form is the next concept you're going to be asked to do today. This idea is a little challenging, but if you know that your numerator and your denominator have a common factor, you'll be all right. So let's take a look at some examples here. So if I have this ratio, 6/12, how do I simplify the ratio 6/12? You guys call it out.
1/2.
Yeah, it simplifies to 1/2. I can't simplify it anymore. Okay, let's do another one. What about 7 to 49? Here I have another ratio, 7 to 49. How do I simplify 7 to 49?
Divided by 7.
Divide each by 7, which would give you what?
4.
Make them into a fraction, and
Okay.
then divide them both by 7.
Sure. So turn them into a fraction, divide them both by 7, divide them both by 7. You end up getting 1/7. And so you can also write 1 to 7. Does that make sense? 1/7 is the same thing as saying 1 to 7. You can also say 1:7, or you can say 1/7. So these are just different ways to simplify fractions. Got it?
Yeah.
Let's look at one last example. What about this one? What about 20 to 60? Everybody take a second and jot it down. Simplify this fraction. And I want you,
1/3.
wait, hold on. I want you to keep the form. Keep the same ratio form. Keep the same ratio form. So you can you can turn it into a fraction like Teresa suggested and then simplify if that's helpful. But I want you to re-report it with a colon. And then when you got it, give me a thumbs up. Everyone's got it. Nice mini. Yeah. Good. Jessica, what did you simplify it to?
1:3.
Yeah, if I divide 20 and 60 by 20, you end up with 1:3. If you ended up turning them into a fraction, 20/60, you would, same thing, divide each side by 20, and you would get 1/3, which you would then convert back to 1/3. Okay? You guys got it? Wunderbar. Finding unit rates is the next topic. we covered finding unit rates in 8.2. So one of the classic things about unit rates that you guys know is, first off, a rate is the relationship of a rate is the ratio of two quantities measured in different units. So miles per hour is a great example. But to get to miles per hour, you don't always do that. So I was driving yesterday. I had to go down to Kona. And it took me 45 minutes to go. I wonder how many miles it is to go. It took me 45 minutes to go. Let's just call it 60 miles. 60 miles. I want to know how many minutes per mile. I want to know what a unit rate is. A unit rate is a denominator that has 1. I have to figure out a way to turn this into something that has a denominator of 1. So, Camden, what am I going to divide my denominator by to end up with 1?
15.
Camden,
Is
what am
it 15?
No, Camden, I want to divide my denominator by a number. It's 60 miles. What can I divide 60 by to get 1? 60 divided by what equals 1?
Oh.
60 divided by what equals 1? Teresa?
60.
60. Camden, what's 60 divided by 60?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. Right. So if you always divide your denominator by itself, you're going to get 1. And if you do it to the bottom,
Do it to the top.
to the top. Get your calculators out. What's 45 divided by 60?
Seriously, we were allowed to use calculators the whole time?
Yeah.
1.3333333.
What is it?
1.3.
Your math.
It's simplified to
My dad
1.3.
It's
My
not
dad-
60 divided by 45. It's 40 divided by 60. 45 divided by 60.
Oh,
It's 0.75.
0.75 minutes per mile. To find a unit rate, you divide your denominator by itself, divide the numerator by that same number, and you'll get your unit rate. That was 6.2. Okay? The last concept before I send you guys the quiz, we're running out of time here, is finding the slope of a line. Find the slope of a line. I'm going to go to the graph paper again. It's easier to see on the graph paper. Okay, so finding the slope of a line. Finding the slope of a line means that you have to remember how to find slope. Kaylee, how do you find slope? Slope equals. Kaylee, you remember?
2 points.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What are the 2 words that we use to find slope?
Slope over run. No, rise over run.
Good. Rise over run. Remembering that rise is vertical change. Run is horizontal change. So today we're going to use this point and this point. And we need to find the slope of this line. We work left to right. That's a big hint here, is working left to right. So I'm going to start here And I'm going to go here, but it really doesn't matter. I'll show you how it doesn't matter which one you go first. So Bowden, you're going to help me with this one. If I start at this point, Bowden, you with me?
Yeah.
Bowden, if I start at this point, am I going up or down to get to this point?
Up.
I have to go up to get to this point?
Down.
Down.
Down is correct. Bowden, how many squares do I go down? How many squares do I rise?
3.
3 is correct. I rise 3. But if I'm going down, it's not positive 3, it's
-3.
-3.
negative 3. My rise is negative 3. Now, Bowden, I'm going to go to the right to get to my point. How many squares do I go to the right?
2.
2 is correct. My slope is negative 3 over 2. Now, you might be saying, wait, I can simplify that fraction, but I don't want a mixed number. Slope should always be in a fraction form or a whole number form. If it's in a mixed number form, you're going to have to go back to a fraction form at some point. So this is perfect. This is perfect.
Mr.
Yes, please.
Are we allowed to use calculators during the test?
You're allowed to use calculators during the entire test. They're in the entire chapter. Yeah.
Are we allowed to use our notes?
This is an open book, open note quiz.
Yes.
All right. One last thing I'd like to show you guys is that while this is the slope, negative 3 over 2, you can actually go the other way too. If I were to go from this point to this point, I would go up 3. I would go up 3, 1, 2, 3. And then I would go left 2, 1, 2, which is negative 2. Is there a difference between negative 3/2 and, negative 3 over 2 and 3 over negative 2? No, those are the same thing.
No.
Yeah, those are the same thing. So it doesn't really matter which way you go. Just remember that if you go down, it's negative. If you go left, it's negative as well. And you know that because if you go down here, it's negative. If you go left, it's negative as well. Okay? All right, guys. So with that, I'm going to send you the quiz. Hold on. And for the there we go. For the quiz today, okay, let me see what the best way to do this is. I think you can submit it on Plus Portals. Will you guys go to Plus Portals and look at where I've posted the quiz? It's 8.1 to 8.3 quiz. It's due today. Is there anywhere from you to submit your results on that or to do anything there?
Yeah, if you email, you can copy it and put it on. Oh wait, no. If you put on email, you can mark it up there, and then you can save it to files, and then you can print. Then you can do it on Plus Portals.
So if I email it to you, can I text it to you the same way? Either way?
I don't know. I haven't tried text yet, but I've done the email thing.
Okay, so you guys can save something to files if I text you a file, can't you?
Yeah. It's actually submitting it is just like submitting any other assignment on
Right.
Plus Portals.
Right.
So.
You save the document, you upload it to that, and then you're done, right? Okay, beauty. So, so guys, it is open book, open note, and 100%. I want you to be successful. So with that, I'll send you a picture of the quiz. You have to do the whole thing. You can skip 10 and 11. Everybody got that? Skip